All right, we're going digging in the DMs.
It's going down in the DM.
This episode is going to be a little spicy because we are talking about dating while fat. We're sharing our experiences, and then we're sharing your experiences. See, we don't need a soundboard. We have you.
I am a human soundboard.
You're the human soundboard. We don't need any other equipment but you. You got it.
Yeah.
I went first last time, so I think it's only fair that you share your dating experiences.
That's vetoed. We also forgot, it's been one episode and we forgot again.
What?
What you told.
Oh my god. Okay.
All right, guys. So this is several minutes into the podcast, so you can't move it now.
I know.
I'm Hayley.
And I'm Sam.
And this is the plus size section. Welcome.
Welcome. We're talking about dating while fat. Because we know that everyone on TikTok and YouTube love that our podcast centers around fatness so much that they comment saying, is your podcast really about it being fat? Yes, this is the plus size section. I think being fat is gonna be a topic of conversation. I really do. Yeah.
It'd be a great branding if it wasn't. If we named it the plus size section and then just never mentioned anything about fatness.
Of course.
Like we're just talking about the weather and what Putin's doing.
Right. Well, it is our entire personality. So because of that, we're now going to bring it into dating.
Yeah.
And include fatness. So yeah.
Because that's our choice for sure. To have it affect our dating life.
Yes.
These commenters, they're Rhodes Scholars. I am just so jealous of their intellect.
I am too. To be educated. Guess I'll never know. All right.
I guess we'll never know.
Guess we'll never know. Haley, you go first.
All right. So, with a snap of my brassiere straps, I'm chaotic today.
It's the energy, I'm telling you. Isn't the new moon going to be in Gemini or something?
Maybe. Mars is also in Virgo. So it is, I have a Virgo rising, so I guess it's conjunct. I don't know the word. It's on top of my rising. We're spicy. Plus I have a Virgo Jupiter, so I think it's like, yay. But, alrighty. So, my dating experience. I'm looking at Sam's outline, and so I'm just going to piggyback off the first bullet point because that's a great place to start. I also had the experience of in middle school, whenever people were starting to quote unquote seriously date, because it's not like you're dating seriously in middle school, but that was when boyfriends and girlfriends started to mean something.
Right. Yep.
There was more than one occasion where the guy that I had the crush on, and I use guy because I did not realize that I was part of the alphabet mafia back then. I didn't realize that until I was 26. So all the crushes that I was aware of were dudes. But very, very often, whenever I had a crush on someone, it was made out to be a joke. And I don't have any beef with the guys now because honestly the ridicule didn't even really come from them. It was the friends around them.
Yes.
And petty frenemy girls. But it was just so funny that the awkward shy fat girl that was the same height as them would have a crush on them. And there were even a couple times where like I got a little quirky crush on one of my guy friends. One in particular, I slid into his DMs, which in back in
Oh.
this day was passing a note in social studies class.
Oh.
So asked him out and he said, I see you as more of a friend. And that was, I said, oh, okay, that's cool in the note, dying inside though. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't affect our friendship though, thankfully. We lost touch after we graduated high school, but just didn't have a lot of luck with guys that I went to school with. And I think it was for two different reasons. Um I think on one hand, growing up in a small town, there isn't a lot of room for like different types, you know, like there was just a lot of how do I say it, like the type obviously in the mid 2000s was the very thin petite like preppy girl. And if there were guys that I went to school with that had a different type, I was not aware of that. But I also like I didn't put myself out there either because I was convinced that none of my crushes would ever be reciprocated. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them were like I had, and I also like I just didn't put myself out there. Like I kept my crushes to myself. And like because obviously by the time I got to high school, God forbid anyone find out that I had a crush on someone because I was used to it being like a joke and being
Right.
made fun of, and like that was the last thing that I wanted at that point. I did, despite not dating anyone until college, I did lose my V card in high school. Um because I was bored. Always, you know, I don't regret it. Obviously, it was something I wanted to do at the time. I regret not caring that this man had a girlfriend that I knew about.
Oh.
Um, yeah, I obviously am not going to dox him or anything, but
You
we
like
were
like
friends from a very young age. You've seen him. I've
this
shown
picture?
you. Yeah.
Is this your is this your man?
No, he's married. So,
Sorry, continue.
oh, this man is married.
I don't know why that's so funny to me. Poor wife.
Yeah, but the shitty part about it was like I don't know if it was because I was heavy or because he had a girlfriend, but we did that and he asked me to keep it a secret. Did I? No. Because I
No.
was like, I had sex.
Right.
And like, I didn't have like a crush on him, but I thought he was a good looking guy. It was always one of those things, so it was like, you know, if the opportunity had presented itself to actually date him before I knew that he was a cheater, pumpkin eater, I would have
Mm-hmm.
sailed on that like a hawk on a titmouse, but didn't like, didn't keep the crush long term. Anyway, so yeah, I did
Wait,
not keep that a secret. What?
wait, wait. Done what? On what type of mouse?
I would have sailed on that like a hawk on a titmouse.
Okay. That's our new logo, everybody. That's our new saying. That's the catchphrase. Every time I find someone attractive or see someone attractive, I'm gonna say, I'm about to sail on them like a hawk on a tip
Watch. I wonder if that dude on TikTok that does all the Southern Grandpa sayings has said anything like that.
I'm
So
obsessed with it. Okay, sorry,
I love
continue.
it. All right. Anyway, so that pretty much sums up my high school experience. I went to college as continuing to be the awkward fat girl metalhead that thought I was unlovable, that no one would ever be interested in me for like, for dating purposes. Um, I was not prepared for just the sheer difference in interest that came from going to a different city, because I was from a very small town, moved to a larger college town in the same state, but holy Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting interest
Get it.
from all different areas,
Get it.
I yeah, I was I don't think I'm going to get super detailed on this because this is a podcast, and should anyone that knows me in real life listen to this, I don't want them to know nitty gritty, but safe to say, I was riding around and getting it
Getting it.
from very, very early on in college, and I was enjoying it. I, in hindsight, like, it was like I was getting all this attention and I loved it, and I wasn't doing things that I didn't want to do, so that wasn't happening. But I was I was allowing those encounters to like satisfy my need for validation. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was doing things that I wanted to do. So it wasn't like I was only doing it for the validation, but it was like a double whammy basically.
Right.
And that's not something that I realized until I was already with my husband. Like there were things like my sex drive was fueled by that a lot before I really healed that part of me that like was getting things from all that validation. Like that, I feel like that was why I was such a horn dog, honestly, because it was like gotta have the validation.
Right.
It wasn't just about the enjoyment. But to continue, I got my first boyfriend when I was 19. He was someone that I worked with when I was 18. He was 24. Like in hindsight, not the best. Like I didn't see anything wrong with the age gap at the time, and like we were both in school, obviously, in very different places in our college careers, and we worked together. So it wasn't like the age gap just wasn't as apparent until after he graduated. And when it was like he was graduated and he was working and he was over 21, and I was still in school and I was under 21. And so he
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go out with his friends. Like that was when kind of the age gap became a problem.
Yeah.
And it caused issues because like I wanted to go out, and I couldn't go the places that he was going. And by the time I turned 21, he was in his mid to late 20s. He didn't want to go out anymore. He
Right.
was tired.
Yeah.
And like he wasn't a bad guy. We were deeply incompatible as far as like what we wanted. And I think it was something like we dated for 5 years, but I don't think either of us expected it to go on that long, because like we never lived together. Like we just dated
Right.
for 5 years. And in hindsight, like that's wild to me.
That's a long time for that age frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was my first relationship. Like I have a lot of love for him. He's not a bad guy. We just didn't work out. And my second relationship was with the scum of the earth,
Oh.
the worst rendition of Florida man that I could have ever encountered.
Yep. Gross. You're nasty.
Yeah. He was the most Leo of Leos. I didn't get into astrology till after the fact, but of course I looked his ass up. He had like 5 Leo placements in his big 6. So just like
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with himself.
Mm-hmm.
And really shitty, really abusive, mentally abusive emotionally, and towards the end verbally. I met him online, and I feel like it was one of those relationships like I didn't see it coming. And like I've told you, whenever whenever I was down there visiting you, like, he had my number. Like, there was not anything that he couldn't have talked me into. And I mean that just deeply. Like, it was fucked up. And I did not understand the type of connection. Like, I honestly feel like it was karmic because it was just so toxic and so consuming. It was really hard to get away from him.
Yeah.
Even living 1,000 miles away, it was hard to get him out of my life.
Yes.
But thankfully I did.
Yes.
Just for context, like, I, up until, well, still, because I met my husband, I married him, like, very much a serial monogamist from 19 onward. Like, I had little breaks of singledom in between, but not for very long. And was I working on myself in those times? No.
Right.
I was so in the wild oats.
Yeah.
Because validation.
Because validation.
Yeah. So I met my husband a few months after I ended things with my dumpster fire second boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I was not looking for a relationship at the time, but obviously there was something about him. He wanted to take me on a date. He approached me in a different way than other guys were on apps. And it just resonated. I met him. We met, our first date was the day of that big solar eclipse in 2017.
Wow.
In August. Yeah. August 21st was when we met.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I met him shortly after Totality, actually. I was trying to get there. Yeah. It was an 8-hour first date, and we were like inseparable after that. And we both had a lot of growing to do in this relationship. Next month, so on August 21st, we'll make 6 years of us being together. 2 years married, because we got married on our anniversary, because I planned it that way.
Precious.
Yes. But he's my person. He has put up with a lot from me, and I have put up with a lot from him, because we were two very unhealed little babies. Like, we loved each other, but like I said, I wasn't single for very long after my second ex before I met him. And the trauma. From that. Yes, dear God. Yes. Like, in hindsight, I was not ready. And I wish, like, on one hand, I wish that I'd had time to heal. But on the other hand, like, I wouldn't have met my husband.
Right.
If I had been sensible enough to take that time. So right. I think it worked out. But lots of growth happened. Lots and lots of growth.
We love to see it.
Absolutely.
It's painful to go through it, but we love to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Real painful.
Oh, yeah.
You know. The listeners will not find out, but you know.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And you know. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We know.
We know. I will say, as a Libra sun, I love Leos. We're not slamming Leos, because I can literally feel y'all's energy rising up. We love you. We don't think all Leos are self-centered. This man was just the worst example of a Leo that there ever has been.
Yes.
In relation to being in Hayley's life.
Yeah.
So, in history, probably not. In Hayley's life, yes. Terrible Leo.
Yeah.
And
I'm just a sucker for Leos. My husband is a Leo moon.
It's the Pisces moon, dude. I'm telling you, there is something about, and I wish an astrologer would like chime in on this. I may ask like an astrologer friend that I have, like, what is it about Pisces and Leos? A Leo comes into a Pisces life, and they just like, the Pisces would give every inch of their soul to that Leo. They are the perfect person for a like egomaniac Leo, not like all Leos, but like the ego Leo. Like, because the Pisces just like worships them. And you are
Yes.
not the first. I have like four friends. Like I'm like four friends, four friends. I have like four friends within like my life that have had this experience with like
Mm-hmm.
their partner was a cisgendered male Leo, and they were Pisces, and it like it's like you can't separate them until it's
No.
finally just like the universe does it, and it has to be
Yeah.
this huge thing, you know what I mean? Like it can't just be
Yeah.
casual. Like, this isn't working out, and no, it's like
No.
the Pisces goes through so much pain
Yeah.
before
It
it's finally done.
yeah, he fucking wrung me out to dry. Like I was like a shell of myself. But
Ugh.
outside of him, like my husband has a Leo moon. So
Mhm.
Aries sun, Leo moon, Libra rising. Um and he has a Taurus Venus and I have a Scorpio Venus, and it's just like we are so similar in so many ways, but we're like just different enough
Right.
that we can really piss each other
Yeah.
off.
When you said his big three, I literally was like, ooh, like
Yeah.
that's a lot of
Yes.
air and fire just gassing himself up over here.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down.
Yeah. Whereas, Sag
Yeah.
Sun, Virgo rising, Pisces moon, the Virgo is like, you need to chill.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
get that.
even like a couple of my really close friends they're females, they have Leo moons, and it's just like, I just love Leo energy. I don't obviously didn't know that they had these placements when I first met them because I didn't get into astrology later, but it's like the sun just shines out of Leo's ass for me. I just am obsessed.
Yeah, I have a Leo Venus. So I love my
Yes.
Leo Venus. I stand on that hill. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm gonna kick it over to you, bud.
Okay. So I'm gonna go quick, guys. So hang in there because we're like 30 minutes in. So I'm gonna try to speed round, speed round. All
I'm
right. So
sorry.
no, you're fine. I had similar but quite the opposite of Hayley, because I will say this multiple times on the podcast. I have not always been a good person. I have been multiple versions,
Mm-hmm.
and past versions didn't always make the best moral decisions, okay? I make them now to the best of my abilities, but young Sam was a crazy, crazy girl, okay? Crazy girl. Stick with me. I first started dating, like Hayley said, in middle school. I had my first boyfriend. Well, actually, let's go. Okay, before that, when I was younger, I was the bigger kid in like elementary school. So anytime I had like a cute little school crush, I was
Mm-hmm.
made fun of, right? Um, which just set me up for wonderful self esteem issues in the future. It was just beautiful of
Great.
the universe to provide me with that brutal making fun of when I was younger. Um, and then I met a older kid who was great. But he became my first boyfriend, and we dated for forever. Like I remember dating him like sixth grade into like my high school year, the early high school years. Like
Wow.
he was it for me. We met online, and I'm talking like when I say we met online, guys, we met through AOL. AIM. Yes.
Oh my.
Can you feel the
Oh.
dust? Yes. Um, and he was like local, of course, and stuff like that. We met up, and he was the only guy where his friends like instantly accepted me as like this is his girlfriend, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime like they went out and did stuff, I would go out too with them, and they played lacrosse, and I thought that was so amazing, and I would go to their lacrosse games, and I was always like, you know, this dude's girlfriend, and it was so
Yeah.
great to have like a bunch of dudes that were like nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was toxic. So we ended up breaking up, and in classic Libra form, I was like, it's not you, it's me. I need time to heal. Um, my bad, bro. Sorry if you ever hear this. My bad. You were good. You were chill. Like he was like honestly, it's so funny because like I wanted like a guy that was like super sensitive and super thoughtful and romantic. And like my first
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend was very much like this. Like he thought he was going to marry me. Like he gave me a promise ring at like 16 years old. He did like a
Oh.
scavenger hunt for me to find it. His mom was really great. Like he was a great first boyfriend to have. I was not a good first girlfriend to have. So my bad, dude. You were great. Um, I just wasn't. I just wasn't a good girlfriend.
Yeah.
Um, so we broke up, and then in a very like toxic fashion. And then of course, like cue me, like I was already kind of being a like getting into drugs and stuff in middle school, but I was hiding them from him and hiding them from my mom and trying to keep up appearances.
Mm.
And then when I got into high school, like, and after my gallbladder, I couldn't hide it anymore, right? It just, the walls
Right.
came down and I didn't care anymore. And I was just like, bleh, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when Crazy Sam enters really hardcore. Um, and I've always, like, liked older guys. I just didn't. So I got into a really bad group of friends in middle school, and then they kind of, like, carried on into high school. But try to get everything in, but also like remember like the key points of this.
Yeah.
So I found my way. So I was always like the funny fat friend, and in high school I didn't really have a clique
Mm-hmm.
because I was the funny fat girl. I was able to like click hop, like click hop, click,
Yeah.
click, click. And then I was able to find like my home a little bit in like the druggies, stoners a little bit.
Right. Right.
Um, so that was cool. And then not cool. It wasn't cool, kids. It wasn't cool. Um, and because of that, I met like a senior. This was like my after my surgery, my junior year. I like clicked with a senior, and she was toxic. Like my mom actively remembers like the day this chick entered my life because she was like,
Oh
"This is not."
boy.
Yeah, like she was a really bad influence on me. Just a tear. Like we went from like cute, quirky drugs to like hard drugs with this person.
Yeah.
Like partying, stealing stuff from my mom, my bad mom, pawning stuff for cash for parties. Like it was not good.
This is
So
wild.
it was my high school experience, and from 16
Mm-hmm.
to 25, crazy girl, crazy girl, crazy stories. We could have like a whole episode like saga of what I went through. But
If you
so
guys are interested in that, let us know in the comments.
yeah, if you're interested in some crazy girl stories, let me know. Um, so then I went to North Carolina, lost my V card to the dude that had a whole ass baby mama. She was actively pregnant. At the time that I slept with this man, I did not know. I want that to be a disclaimer. I
Mm-hmm.
did not know that he had a girlfriend and that she was pregnant. But when I found out, I did not care. Because, like you said, all of these dudes, this fun, this attention, the flirting, all of it was validation. All of it was
Yeah.
finally that my inner fat girl was like, see,
Mm-hmm.
they like you. Because, like, when all my inner child has ever wanted was to be liked.
Right.
So when you get into like the sexual side of things, it's like that validation of like, you are pretty. You are,
Mm-hmm.
people want to sleep with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So toxic. Just validation. And then, so I dated that guy for a while. He was like the most pathological liar. Like an insane pathological liar. Like he's one of those dudes that lies about going into the military. And then everybody finds out he lied about going into the military.
Honestly, my crazy ex probably lied about that too.
Yeah, you can look it
He
up.
lied about his mom being dead. So
See, I don't know what it is about. Like they come up with the biggest lies. Like just tell me
yeah.
you're not about it. There was
Yeah.
at one time there was a Facebook group about how many girls this dude that I lost my B card to has slept with.
Damn.
Yes,
That's some
yes,
small town shit right there.
yeah. And no, they were like from other states, Haley. They were from other states. Yes, because he was in the Navy. I can't. Anyways,
I
oh my god.
can't.
We don't even know. I don't even know how much this I'm going to keep in, guys, because it's just so chaotic. So, and then, like, just had fun in North Carolina. Had a fiance for 4 years. I was a good girl with my fiance. He was not good, but I was good.
Mm-hmm.
Fiance wasn't the best dude. He wasn't a bad dude. He just wasn't like an active participant in the relationship. That's how I'm gonna coin him. Even though he cheated, he wasn't. He was just like the funny dude, like the funny
Yeah.
kid in the group. He just wasn't active in like trying to get a job, and we're like paying rent, and I'm like, get a job. You know what I mean? But like, not a
Yeah.
bad guy. So was supposed to get married to him. Lied about my license being expired at the courthouse.
Oh my god.
Toxic. So
No,
sorry.
like you almost got to the point of no return.
I know. And it's like
Whew.
it all came crashing in the moment too. Like
Yeah.
I had the dress on, like we were there. My sister and her dude were there. Like we were.
Oh, Sam.
And then I like looked at my license and I was like, it's expired. Woo. And I had a Georgia license and we were in North Carolina, so like I would have had to like it was like a whole thing. So it never happened.
Iconic.
Icon. So it never happened, thank God. Because he ended up marrying the woman he cheated on me with and having a kid. Like, that's what needed to happen. It's fine. But
I feel like they always do that.
it's so annoying. But like honestly, it's okay. Like I wasn't even mad when I found out. My friend told me I wasn't even mad that he cheated, and like
Mm-hmm.
he was more upset that he got her pregnant than I was. Like to be honest, like we were already done at that
Yeah.
point. He had already moved back in with his mom and everything, and it was just like he was trying to like patch things up. But Brian
Mm-hmm.
and I had already been friends for like a year at this point, and Brian was like trying to like get in that like so
Oh yeah.
hard. Like he was being precious. I mean, and he knows he wasn't the only guy on my roster, but he was the only one that I was like actively like maybe there's a potential for a relationship. The other ones were just
Yeah.
like because old Sam used to use men. We all know this. So they were all just like they had jobs that they needed to do, like
Yeah.
fixing my dryer, stuff like that. But he was the only one that was like sweet and like brought me groceries and paid my water bill and didn't
Yeah.
get any didn't get any play, but like was still down to hang. So like I really enjoyed his company. But when me and my ex broke up, my ex like swears that Brian and I were in a relationship, and we were not. We were not. But then he was like, "Hey, I got this chick pregnant." I was like, "Well, I guess we're not getting back together, bro." Like,
That'll do
it's
her.
so that'll do it, you know. And it was so awkward because like him and Brian had like painted my house, like the inside of my house, so I could get my deposit back. Like it was so weird how it worked out
Together?
together. Yeah, because like my ex and I had broken up, but he was still like trying to win me back. So he was
Yeah.
like helping out, and then Brian's like trying to get in it, so he's helping out, right? So I just have like these two dudes like painting my walls and taking out. It was so weird.
The power. I know that
Like,
you're talking about how toxic this is, but like I never even thought to try and like get these dudes to do shit for me.
oh my god,
I was
I'm
just like happen to be getting it, you know?
oh no, I'm
I
see. I was just such a tease. Like I was such a toxic tease of like flirting and then like inviting them over and then being
mm-hmm.
like, will you come roll a blunt with me? And they'd be like, yeah. Because they're like, I'm going to get it in. And then it's like, I'm so tired. You know, like, or like,
I
hey.
am fucking screaming right now because not going to say her name on the pod again, but we've mentioned her. You've mentioned her before, a specific friend of mine. It's the same way. Like, never paid for her own weed. And I was
Never.
like, I was Miss Independent. Like, I paid for my own weed in college. And I was just like, what do you mean you never bought it yourself? Like,
No.
that's exactly what I mean. Like, it just never occurred to me to try and play it that way.
No, I had like a full, like 6'4" man cleaning my apartment for me, cooking me meals. Like I literally
Hell yeah.
I hit this dude's car in the parking lot, like moved it from one space to another. I hit it so bad. And he was like, baby, it's fine. Yeah. Toxic.
I think you could teach a course on that, to be honest. God damn. Not being toxic. I don't think it is toxic, but like, I don't see you as toxic. I don't
I
judge
mean,
you for that.
I laugh, like the people at the tattoo shop call me mistress. Like I missed my calling of being like a dom. Like
Yeah.
I would be such a good fendom. Like I
Yeah.
just I would, because I know how to, like, I can make men feel good without physically making them feel good, and that's what got
Mm-hmm.
it. That's what got me through 18 to 25 was that model right there, making them feel good without having to make them feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just worked
And there, I
out.
mean, there's people that will pay, like, they'll pay you to come clean your house
Mm-hmm.
and do your stuff, to,
Oh
like,
yeah,
take care of chores.
oh yeah. I miss my
Iconic.
calling. Iconic. And
Maybe next
then
life.
maybe next life, we'll see. We'll see. And then, Brian was great for 2 years. Didn't he stuck around? He didn't ask me for anything. And so we got together. And he has been just the best husband a girlie could ask for. He supports me with my body image issues. He supports me with my spirituality. He fills up my cup and I fill up his cup. And it's just like, I I hate seeing like friends and mutuals like go through things where they like, because when I was younger, like elementary school, that's when I would let men make fun of me. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like after that though, like, no, bro. Like I just don't care enough about what dudes think to make them feel
Mm-hmm.
bad about me, to make me feel bad about myself.
Right.
So I hate it when I see friends and mutuals like in relationships with really shitty guys, because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, like I promise you, look at me. Just because you're fat does not mean you deserve to be treated like this.
Right.
Like I promise. I have had such incredibly attractive. My husband's very attractive. My
Mm-hmm.
exes, one of them not so attractive, but he was the plug, so you got to do what you got to do, ladies. But other than that,
Yeah.
very attractive partners, like that treated me very well, that did things for me. I've never been like mistreated like that,
Yeah.
because like, no, if you don't want to do it, I will get another guy that will. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it's actually, that's really, really common amongst, like, I'm, I don't want to stereotype too much, but like that mentality of like, you aren't used to that attention. So if someone express interest in dating you, like you'll settle basically.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works out where it's like he's not a bad guy. You're just incompatible. Like we
Right.
both had experience with. But other times it's like you are putting up with someone who is not a good partner, actively making fun of you. And it's like you think that that's all you deserve because of how people have made you feel about your looks if you're fat.
Right.
And that is just like, it's not true. You don't
Yeah.
have to take any of that shit. And there are people who want to date you
Yes.
that aren't those people. Like,
Yes.
don't count yourself out.
Yeah.
Because
Don't.
we've both had plenty of partners that like good looking guys,
Mm-hmm.
stereotypically attractive guys.
Yeah.
And like when we were growing up, we wouldn't have thought that that was possible. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm really big on how people speak to me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I can't be around friends where like their partner speaks to them like shit. I can't even,
Yeah.
like, seeing stories on TikTok about like big women, femmes, people in general just sharing their stories about how their partner would like speak to them,
Yeah.
like make fun of their weight. There's no way.
No.
There's no way. There's no way I would stand for that. Like I'm sorry. Like
No.
I just, and I don't think anybody should.
No.
And no one
Absolutely
should.
not.
Nobody should.
I like going over my all my relationships, like I definitely tolerated some shitty behavior. Like even from the decent guys. Tolerated some shitty behavior in the way like they weren't as considerate as they should have been. They weren't like as relationship minded as I would expect now. But
Right.
that was one thing that I also never tolerated was like if like speaking negatively about my weight, even if we were already like in a sexual relationship, when you started to roll that shit out, like, no,
No.
absolutely not. Like, I can talk badly enough about myself
Yeah.
without having to deal with that. Like, I can get laid elsewhere.
Absolutely. Even as a mistress, there was standards. Like he still
Hmm.
took me on dates. Remember I shared that story about his girl like rolling up, like we were going on a date. Like we were
Yes.
going out. I was getting the treatment. You know, he drove
Yes.
all the way from North Carolina to be at my graduation. Okay? Like the treatment has
Sprung.
always been there. Like I don't
Yeah.
and it's not even just like my fat friends. It's like any person, like any woman, femme, like don't let your partner treat you like trash. Like there is someone out there that's not going to treat you like that. Like do not
Hmm.
settle and like come talk to me if your
We're
relationship's
taught to
trash.
settle. We are
Ugh,
taught,
no.
we are conditioned to settle and to take projects on, basically. Like,
Right, no.
that's why there's so many videos out there where like straight men in like heterosexual relationships, like, there are any number of men, like any number greater than zero is too many, but like the number of men that are partnered up and they don't wash their asses.
Oh my god, I know.
They don't use a soap, they don't use a washcloth. They just let the water trickle down because it's gay to
Yeah.
wash. Like, and these men are booed up.
No, no,
These are the type, like, this is what we're conditioned to accept.
no. My thing is like when I hear stories about like my friends or I'll see on TikTok where like these people's partners like don't do their own laundry or dishes.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
I can't. I could never. Like Brian does his own laundry on his day when he feels like it.
Yeah.
Like that man takes out the trash when the trash is full. Like I don't understand
Yeah.
living with a partner. Like I get like divvying up the chores that you both are comfortable doing. Like
Right.
if I don't like putting dishes in the dishwasher
Mm-hmm.
because I don't like seeing the food. Like once I'm done
Yeah.
eating my food, it becomes disgusting. So Brian does that. I empty the dishwasher. Like
Mm-hmm.
divvy up the chores, but like I am not your
No.
mom. Like
No.
what? I can't imagine that. Okay.
That was, I
So
mean, that was something I know. I want to keep talking about that. But
I
like,
know.
I
I do
was,
too.
I was raised in that kind of environment though. Like,
Mhm.
my dad was the breadwinner, so my mom did everything. And they're also from the generation that was very common. But it was because of that, and also because of being in a relationship, like a dual income relationship. Whenever my husband and I moved in together, when we were just dating still, that was something I was very adamant about. Like, I'm not your mom.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to do all of the cooking and all of the cleaning and laundry for everybody when we both have to work full time.
Yeah.
Like, there was definitely a period of time whenever like my physical abilities were very limited that he did pretty much everything. And I
Mhm.
think we've settled back into like a good rhythm as far as what's fair for us. But like, if you're both working, physical limitations aside, one person shouldn't be doing all the chores.
Right. Not
It's just not
constantly.
fair.
No.
No.
Like I get the flows of the
Yeah.
relationship, but that was like the biggest thing with my ex was that he just would not get a job, but it wasn't that he just wouldn't get a job. It was also he wasn't contributing in any way to the relationship.
Yeah.
He
He was
wasn't
just
emotionally
there.
he was just there. He was just there playing video games. And like
Mm-hmm.
that's what really cemented like I am not a gamer girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like I can't. Like if you want to be active in the relationship, that's fine. But if you're just like sitting playing video games thinking that I'm going to like do the laundry, take the trash out, cook
Mm-hmm.
you dinner, like no, I am not your mom. Like I'm not
Yeah.
doing it. I'm not your mom. Like sorry. And I
Exactly.
literally called her and was like, "Come get your son. Come get this cuz I am I and oh, she was so mad at me. But I was like, "I don't know. This is not working out for me, honey. Come get
Yeah.
this. This is a child." No, thank you.
Amen.
Not,
Amen.
mm-mm. Nope. Okay. Thank you guys for listening. We're now going to go to your stories.
Absolutely. So this episode, doing this episode was accelerated because we had a listener from Argentina, and which, first of all, was so cool that we have a listener outside of the continental US. I know our analytics say we have plenty more, but like this was very cool. But she wanted us to talk about when you're the secret, like a guy wants to keep dating you on the DL, or um for whatever reason you're good enough to have sex with, but basically not good enough to claim publicly.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah,
I
I
hate
feel
that anymore.
like yeah, it's tough. Like I was thinking about this in my own dating experience, and I can't necessarily pinpoint a time when I know for sure that I experienced that, because I, like what I said when I lost my virginity, like it could have definitely been because he had a girlfriend,
Mm.
or it could have been because I was fat.
Right.
Either it could have been both. Either way. But like I know that this isn't something that is rare, but
No.
you guys, everyone deserves more than to be the secret.
Yes. Do not settle for that. There are
No.
too many fish. Too
No.
many fish. And if you think that there's not enough, go to a different pond.
Mhm.
Go.
Absolutely.
You are swimming in a pond when there is an ocean, baby. There is an
Yeah.
ocean. Get out of
Yeah.
it. You do not have to settle for that. There are
They're
others
not the
that
one
will
for
love you
you.
openly. No, they're
Yeah.
not. No, do not settle for that. If they think that because you're a big person, you don't have a lot of respect or self worth, and in some cases that's true, but that doesn't mean that you have to like play into that. You
Right.
know, like just because they message you or just because they show you attention doesn't mean that you have to respond to that attention.
Mhm.
Like, or you have to act on it because you've gotten it. You don't owe anyone anything, so
Absolutely.
you don't owe to be their secret.
Yeah. I do want to be clear that like we are not anti-casual sex here. There's nothing
No,
wrong with having casual sex or having sex with
absolutely.
someone you're not in love with. That's not what this is.
That's not what this
If
is.
you are doing something that you can feel in your gut is not right for you and doesn't make you feel good about yourself, you should not be doing it.
Right.
Don't force yourself to do that, because it might feel like in the moment that this is the last person that will ever find you attractive and you'll never find someone again. I promise that's not true.
Right.
It is easier to get laid or to find a date than you are giving yourself credit for. So you don't have to
Absolutely.
settle for the shitty one.
Absolutely. Walk outside your house,
Mhm.
yell really loudly, cock please. You will be surprised at how many roosters show up in your yard. Okay?
I guess
If
that's how
that's
they
what
do it in North Carolina.
yeah, if that's what you want, if you're looking
Yeah.
for the cock, okay? We're gonna read a couple short stories that were
Mhm.
submitted, and then we're gonna end it on a lovely long one
There we
that we
go.
love to hear.
So the first one that I'm going to read is from a fellow bariatric patient, and it's not necessarily a story, but it is that she realized that guys are more attracted to her now that she's smaller, and had
Mm-hmm.
a similar realization that I did.
Right.
Like no longer being invisible, realizing that men were being nice to her, but also that other girls were more combative towards her, like they were seeing her as competition when they didn't
Oh,
before.
oh yeah.
Which is like that's don't be like that. Don't be like
That's so
that.
toxic. But that's how it works. That's my upbringing, man.
Yeah.
That's that's how it was. Though. Being the funny fat friend, the girls just think that you are not competition, and
Mhm.
then it's like a joke when you think that you can get with a like hot dude, right?
Yeah.
It's such a joke, and it's like no, like he's actually already in my DMs. He just wants me to be a secret,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Don't be a
Yeah.
pick me.
Don't be a pick me. Disgusting.
So my next one is actually from one of my friends from college. Because we're so close, I will be keeping her anonymous as well. But She says, "Black men respect me more than white men. I don't know if you can say that, but black men have always looked past my fatness no matter what my size. White men don't give me the time of day unless they themselves are also fat."
Really?
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
she grew up in small town West Virginia, a different town than me, but very similar culture. And I feel like it might just be a small town thing
Right.
where it was like, even for her, like guys from her hometown weren't interested in her until in college. And it was like once they found out that she was hooking up, basically,
Right.
that was the type of attention she got from white guys. But she also said, if you're feeling self-conscious of your body or not totally comfortable or whatever, and you're okay with porn, go to our chubby or some other plus size focused Reddits, and it's a great eye opener to the fact that we were lied to about the fact that like fat bodies can't be attractive.
Love it.
Like you,
Love it.
yes, love it.
Love
But
it.
to be honest, I had a similar. I feel like it could be what she said at first could be considered controversial, but I had a really similar experience as
Mm,
well. Like it was just, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't
right.
an issue.
Right.
And it wasn't an issue for my husband either, but he was the first white guy to like seem like he loved my body. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just like, oh, she's cool and I'm attracted to her well enough. Like he
Right.
loved it. I know we've talked about that before. All right. So this one is from another friend of mine, and they said that their best story was this really hot dude that they dated when they were a small fat. He tried to tell them that his dad would not allow him to marry a fat woman, so he could not marry me ever. His dad was literally married to a fat woman, and now the guy that they dated is also married to a fat woman. So it's like, why do all that?
I'm gonna say I had an experience this weekend where like I was at my sister's house that
Mm-hmm.
they're buying, and they were like, hey, like I didn't have shoes on, so they were like, hey, can you test out the shower to make sure like it's good? So I went in there, tested out the shower, like put my leg up, and like I came out, and they were like, oh, did you test the shower? I was like, oh yeah, it was able to hold me, we're good. And
Mm-hmm.
like the one of the dudes was like, you said it, not me. Because the dude was like, he was like, sheesh, or something like that, like about my weight. And like, my sister thought like it upset me so bad, but I didn't even register it. And like
Yeah.
when I thought about it, I was like, my guy, you have looked in the mirror, right? You're aware that you are fat like me,
Yeah.
right? Like you register you fat too? What are
They
you doing?
never see it like that.
What the hell?
It's
It was
it's wild.
crazy. It was
Yeah.
wild to me. It was wild to me.
Yeah. Honestly, it's
Why?
it's wild too, like wild in a good way that it did you didn't even register that.
No, I don't listen to men. Let's
You
not
know,
talk
like
about
it
that.
didn't something like that could have in the olden days could have ruined your day or like been
Yeah,
so embarrassing.
yeah, that's what I did. Like, I'm glad that she like talked to him about it because I was like, hey, like, I'm glad you did talk to him because like keep him in line because like he doesn't need to be like out here running his mouth on
Yeah.
people's bodies. But also like I don't listen to older men. I
Yeah.
just everything they say is just womp
Yeah.
womp 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 womp. Like I don't even register half of it.
Also, like, looking,
It
don't
was
be
a night.
calling out other fat people if you're also fat. Like, that is just it's a bad look, period. But it's like, sir,
Sir,
really?
really? We're for real right now? Okay. Cool vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Way to make it weird.
Wait a minute. Do I have to say it? Like, that's how I felt. Like, it
You
was like,
totally could have been like, well, maybe you should go test it out too to make sure it's a good show.
right. He would be the that dude where you're like, oh, look, another, a fellow fat. And he'd be like, where?
It's not me.
It's like, you, bud. Like,
Yeah.
you know, right? Crazy. I don't know. The audacity. Anyways, continue.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now I'm going to. I know we're getting long on time, but I'm going to go to some of our TikTok submissions.
Yes, we only have 2, so it should be okay. Stick in here,
Yeah.
guys. We're almost done. Stick in.
You all are having fun. I know it. But this is from someone named Lenny. It says, my ex and I dated for about a year, and he was well fit and liked to go to the gym because he used to be obese, both him and his twin brother. When we started dating, I was about 200 pounds, but as we started dating further, he kept picking on my size and how I could look. So out on group dates, my mom sided with him. I knew that if he was doing this as well as other forms of abuse, it could be worse after we got married. He used to say how he loved me for me, but it finally really showed as we got closer to our wedding date how much he really did love me. It just kept getting worse and worse. He would say what I could and couldn't wear, whether I should wear makeup, and what I should be eating. I ended up calling it off. Good for you. And
Good
lost
for you.
deposits and donated my dress. My mother wasn't happy with me yet. I thought she would understand because she herself was in an abusive relationship with my father. It'd be the ones most. Never mind.
Well, yeah.
Just
yeah,
it'd be the ones closest to us, but it'd also be the ones that are in the situation themselves.
Yeah, of course.
But I went through bouts of depression and unaliving thoughts. I ended up meeting my now husband shortly later, and we will be married 10 years now. This December. I had to deal with PTSD, and still to this day I worry about my weight, but he has always shown how much he loved me for me and my size.
Yes,
I
we
love
love
that.
to see it. Yes.
Good job not marrying that first one.
I'm so proud of you.
Good job trusting that gut.
Made the right decision. Snaps. Snaps.
Yes. And let's see. I think this is our last one. So this last one is from Raven and Rogue, and it says, my wife and I met on AOL in 1997 when we were teenagers. We dated long distance for 3 years. She jumped on a Greyhound bus and came to visit with absolutely no plans of going back, and my dad lost his shit. My mom, however, loved court and tried to convince my dad to let her move in. No dice. Anyway, my dad eventually gave me an ultimatum to break things off or get kicked out. I was 17. We stayed friends for years. Court ended up having 2 kids, and we both got married to other people. Fast forward to 2016, we were both going through divorces and bonded about our experiences and ended up back together. They moved to, isn't that so sweet? They moved to St. Louis to live with me, and we've been together ever since. So I ended up marrying my first boyfriend, who later became my wife.
Yes.
So sweet.
Precious.
I love stories like that, like being friends online for so long like that, even just like as a platonic friendship, like that's just so beautiful to me.
Yes, and we love Raven. Oh my gosh, we love Raven and Rogue in this house. They're the creators of the Territorial deck.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have it right here. I have the mini one right here. Have the mini Territorial deck. Oh, trash. Okay, whoop whoop. Yeah,
so cute.
So cute. You guys should check it out. Love you. Thank you for submitting. That was precious. Like, that's crazy. We do have one also that's in there from TikTok from Anna. Okay. That says, my husband and I were roommates first, platonic friends, turned to dating, and then getting approval from his family for a love marriage.
Aww.
Precious.
That's so cute.
That's how me and mine met, except for we weren't roommates. We were just platonic friends. Healthy. I love it. I think you should be friends first. Like, I think it's so important. Mm-hmm. Like, one, living together before marriage, so important. Yes. Yes. Just so you know, like, know what you're signing up for before you legally sign up for it. Because people throw around, like, divorce, but, like, divorce is expensive and it takes a minute. In
Mm-hmm.
certain states, it takes a minute. So, like,
Yeah.
think before you sign, live together before you sign. Like,
Yes.
see what's up before you sign.
Try before you buy.
Try before you buy. Try before you buy. Okay. So, our last story is a long one, but I'm going to summarize as much as I can. And this is from Self Care Witch, which we love in this house.
Love you.
Says, okay, so ex before husband. I will omit name because honestly, I don't know what last name he is going by now.
Oh.
More on that near the end. We met at the one party I went to in high school. A community theater buddy of mine was hosting it, and so there was people from my school and his people from my school and his, and that is how I met X. But I was 14 and he was 16, so I wasn't allowed to date. When I was 17, he was dating a girl, but they broke up. So we decided to date when he was 19 and I was 17. But age different wise, I couldn't have sex without it counting as the
Mm.
state's, you know?
Yep.
He promised to take me to Black Hills by Mount Rushmore for my first time after I turned 18. I don't know if that's a good promise. I don't know anything about that area, so I don't know.
That's. I mean, it's beautiful there, but
Oh, thankfully this never happened. So I'm assuming this was not a good first time plan.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
my
I
parents.
wouldn't want to lose it around Mount Rushmore, but to each their own. Black Hills itself is beautiful.
Oh, is it okay? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this dude seems grimy, anyways. My parents. I mean, I don't know. There's just the vibes. My parents found out we were dating, and I was sexting. Stupid 17-year-old me was stupid. And so I got in trouble. They showed me in color. They showed me in color STD photos. Oh my god. My
Yeah.
therapist wasn't a huge fan of them doing this, so she convinced them to let me date. My parents were going to parent, and I was banned from texting my ex except for one supervised hour a day. Damn. But when it came to Valentine's Day and right around his 20th birthday, he said he couldn't celebrate due to work, so we celebrated at my anime club. Oh,
Cute.
this precious. There's just something about when someone says like my anime club. I'm like
Yeah.
you know the vibe. Like we could be friends. We are friends. We bond over cinnamon all the time. It matches up. The same anime club he admitted to traveling the world, killing demons, like the protagonist of D. Grayman. I
Do you
don't.
know what that means?
I don't know what that means. That's a mouthful, and anyone. Okay.
Alrighty.
Alrighty. We got a Demon Slayer X coming
Yeah.
through the podcast.
A world
Um,
traveler.
a world traveler. Uh, he broke up with me via Facebook Messenger. Classy. Because I had Facebook on my iPod Touch. Ooh, retro. And used it at school. And he lied why. He told me he wasn't good enough for me, which I blame my dad because he was over at my parents' place a week before, and my dad did the "you date my daughter, I kill you" talk. So I was mad until 3 days later his Facebook changed to him dating some new chick.
Mm.
Turns out he
Mm.
didn't
Mm.
have to work. He wanted to go party and met a girl he wanted to fuck. So he dumped me to fuck her. Oh, and his ex. Yeah. So, yeah, it said, and that's like the summary of it, basically, is this dude was trash.
Yeah. The
Cool.
stinkiest of
The
trash.
sneakiest. There's more. I'm gonna save the rest for if we ever have a Patreon. Let
Okay.
us know if you guys want us to have a. Okay, I think the poll is gonna be this week. Um, do you think we should start a Patreon? Because this story is like a Patreon story if I've ever seen one, because it does
Oh
have
yeah.
like crazy twists and turns. So if you guys want us to start a Patreon, we will, and we'll get into like the exclusives there and all the dirty deets. Um, but yeah, fuck that dude.
Absolutely. Glad she
I'm glad,
didn't.
I'm glad she didn't either. Now she's a great husband. So, like,
Yeah,
yes, we're here for it.
we
We
are.
just have to go through the mud to find the good ones, I swear. It shouldn't be like that, though.
No.
Shouldn't be like that. Really, really shouldn't. All right. So, moral of the story, we've all been through it,
Mm-hmm.
dating while fat, and um,
Never settle.
never settle. I think that's the moral of the story, right? Like, just because you're fat body does not mean you should settle for anything.
No.
Relationships, jobs, what else? Anything. Don't settle.
Anything.
Like,
Anything less than what you want.
yes, yes. All right. That's it. That's all I got. You guys, Hayley is going to be our Erica from the Judgies, and Hayley's going to go through on where you can find us. Hayley, where can they find us?
Okay, y'all. So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Plus Size Section, TikTok at the Plus Size Section. And do you have any little cute stories for us or some Reddit links that we could read for our next Reddit episode? Anything goes. I want to mix it up. Not just am I the a-hole or today I fucked up, but you can email those to us at the plus size section at gmail.com. While you are, while you're listening, do a little poll vote, answer the questions, and also give us a little rating on Spotify or Apple. And also share this with your friends. If you love us, which you better, you should give it a share because we want more ears on this podcast.
You do.
I will get better at this.
You did
But
amazing.
I also might not. Thank you.
And that's it. That's a wrap. We'll see you guys next week. We have a guest.
Woo!
Woo!
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.